desert is a beautiful place during the day. Golden sand, stretching endlessly under a cloudless sky. The kind of landscape that makes you feel small, but alive. But at night, the desert becomes something else entirely. It becomes a graveyard of secrets, a place where the rules of civilization don't apply, and where the darkness hides things that should have stayed buried. My family learned that lesson the hard way, and we barely lived to tell the tale. My name is David Martinez, and this is the story of the worst night of our lives. It started as a celebration. My wife Rachel and I had just bought our dream car, a brand new silver SUV with all the bells and whistles. We decided to take a family road trip to christen it properly. Our two kids, 15-year-old Mia and 12-year-old Lucas, were excited. Even my older brother Miguel, who had flown in from California to visit us, agreed to come along. The plan was simple: drive through the scenic desert highway, stop at a few landmarks, take some photos, and reach the hotel by sunset. It should have been easy. It should have been safe. We left early in the morning, the GPS confidently guiding us along a route that promised stunning views and minimal traffic. For the first few hours, everything was perfect. The kids were glued to their phones, Rachel was reading a magazine, and Miguel and I were catching up on old times, laughing about stupid things we did as teenagers. The desert landscape rolled past us in waves of red rock and amber sand, beautiful and endless. But around 3 p.m, things started going wrong. The GPS flickered and died, just shut off completely. Rachel tried to reboot it, but nothing worked. Then Miguel checked his phone. No signal, not even a single bar. I wasn't too worried at first. The road was straight and clear, and I figured we could just keep driving until we hit the next town. But 20 minutes later, the car started making a strange noise. A grinding, coughing sound that came from somewhere deep in the engine. The dashboard lit up with warning lights, and before I could pull over, the engine died completely. We coasted to a stop on the side of the empty highway, surrounded by nothing but sand and rocks. As far as the eye could see, I tried restarting the car a dozen times. Nothing, not even a click. Miguel, who knew a bit about cars, popped the hood and took a look. After a few minutes, he came back with bad news. "Something's seriously wrong with the engine. I don't know what, but we're not going anywhere without a tow truck." Rachel immediately tried calling for help, but her phone had no signal. Neither did mine. Neither did the kids. We were completely cut off, stranded in the middle of the desert with no way to contact anyone. Lucas started to panic, asking if we were going to die out there. I put on my brave dad voice and assured him we'd be fine. Someone would drive by eventually, and we'd flag them down for help. But as the hours passed and the sun began its slow descent toward the horizon, not a single car came down that road. Not one. It was like the highway had been abandoned. Rachel and I tried to stay calm for the kids, but I could see the fear creeping into her eyes, and I felt it too. The desert was changing, the temperature was dropping fast, and the light was fading. Soon it would be completely dark, and we'd be alone out here with no shelter, no food, and no water. As the last rays of sunlight disappeared, Mia noticed something strange. Shapes on the hills surrounding us. At first, I thought they were just rocks or Joshua trees, but then one of them moved, and then another. They were people, or at least, they looked like people from a distance. Tall, thin figures standing perfectly still, watching us from the ridges above. Miguel saw them too, and his face went pale. "David, we need to get back in the car, right now." We all piled back into the SUV and locked the doors. Through the windows, we could see more of them now. Dozens of shapes emerging from behind rocks and climbing down from the hills, moving toward us in complete silence. Then the sound started. Footsteps crunching on gravel, circling the car. Whispers in a language I didn't recognize, guttural and harsh. And then, from somewhere far off in the darkness, a scream. A human scream full of agony and terror that cut through the night and made my blood run cold. Lucas started crying, and Rachel pulled him close, covering his ears. Mia was frozen, staring out the window with wide eyes. Miguel was gripping the door handle so hard his knuckles were white. "What the hell are they?" he whispered. I didn't have an answer. I didn't want to have an answer. One of them approached the car. I got a good look at him through the windshield, and I immediately wished I hadn't. He was tall and emaciated, his skin burned dark by the sun and covered in scars. He wore tattered rags that might have been clothing once, and around his neck was a necklace made of bones, human bones. His eyes were wild and yellow, reflecting the moonlight like an animal's. He pressed his face against the glass, staring directly at me, and smiled. His teeth were filed into points. Then he licked the window, leaving a streak of something dark and sticky behind. Rachel screamed. They surrounded the car, dozens of them, pressing against the windows and rocking the vehicle back and forth. I held Rachel and the kids close, telling them not to look, but there was nowhere to hide. The creatures, I couldn't think of them as people anymore, began chanting. A low, rhythmic chant that seemed to vibrate through the car itself. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. They pulled back, disappearing into the darkness as quickly as they had come. We sat there in shocked silence, hearts pounding, barely able to breathe. I thought maybe, just maybe, they had left. But then I heard Miguel's voice, barely a whisper. "David, there's something you need to know." I looked at him, and the expression on his face was something I'd never seen before. Guilt. Deep, crushing guilt. "What are you talking about?" I asked. He took a shaky breath. "This place. This desert. I've been here before. A long time ago when I was a teenager. I never told anyone, but I was part of a group that came out here. We were stupid kids looking for adventure, and we found a cave. Inside were artifacts, old things. We took some of them. We desecrated their sacred site. And before we left, an old woman appeared out of nowhere and cursed us. She said we were marked and that one day they would come for us, for our bloodline." I stared at him in disbelief. "You're telling me this is your fault? That these things are here because of something you did 30 years ago?" He nodded, tears streaming down his face. "I thought it was just a crazy story. I never believed it. But now I see them, David. I recognize the symbols, the bones. This is the same tribe, and they know I'm here." Mia grabbed my arm. "Dad, what does that mean? What are they going to do to us?" Before I could answer, they came back, but this time they weren't just surrounding the car, they were trying to get inside. Rocks smashed against the windows. Hands clawed at the doors, trying to pry them open. The chanting grew louder, more frenzied. One of them climbed onto the hood and started pounding on the windshield with a heavy stone. Cracks spiderwebbed across the glass. We were out of time. Miguel suddenly grabbed the keys from my hand. "I'm going out there," he said. "If I give myself to them, maybe they'll let the rest of you go." Rachel screamed at him not to do it, but he was already opening the door. "Tell Mom I'm sorry," he said, looking at me one last time. And then he stepped out into the darkness. What happened next? I can't fully describe. The creatures descended on him like a pack of wild animals, dragging him away into the desert. His screams echoed through the night, and then, slowly, they faded into silence. The rest of the tribe began to leave one by one, disappearing back into the hills. Within minutes, we were alone again. The desert was quiet, but we didn't move. We stayed locked in that car, shaking and crying, until the sun finally rose. When daylight came, a highway patrol car found us. They said they'd received a delayed emergency ping from one of our phones. They never found Miguel's body. When I told them what happened, they exchanged glances, but didn't say much. One officer did mention that there had been reports over the years, disappearances, strange sightings, but nothing was ever proven. We made it home, but we're not the same. Mia has nightmares every night. Lucas barely speaks anymore. Rachel and I are holding it together for the kids, but inside, we're broken. And every night, when I close my eyes, I see those yellow eyes staring at me through the glass. I hear the chanting. I see my brother walking into the darkness to save us. The desert took something from us that night, and I don't think we'll ever get it back. If you ever find yourself broken down in the middle of nowhere, pray that help comes before the sun goes down. Because there are places in this world where civilization ends and something older, something hungry takes over. The desert remembers, and it never forgets.